lesson. Today we are on quick review number 3. For today's objective, we have to review solving linear equations. Our language objective is to explain the process we take when solving equations. So let's take a look at our thinking for today. Review. Today's thinking is how do we solve different types of linear equations. So I love this quick review because it's pretty much something that should be really easy for all of us, and we should feel really confident when solving these types of equations. So we have solving linear equations. There are two types of equations that we might see here. We have some simple equations. When asked to solve a linear equation, we need to isolate the variable by using inverse operations. We know that. And we will be seeing some complex equations with fractions, which means that if I have something dealing with this, we would use the LCD method to eliminate the denominator of a fraction, making the process a simple equations type of problem. So let's look at example 1. So here we are going to be solving some simple equations. I would like all of you to pause the video and do all of these 3 questions on your own, and then replay the video to see if you have the same exact answer as I do. Kind of a quick check. All right, so pause the video and you will come back when you are done. For number 1, we do the process and we end up at a value of -40/3. Distributions going on, combining like terms, moving the variables to one side, the numbers to the other, the constants to the other, and solving for b that way. For number 2, I took the same approach, right? I wanted to distribute and combine like terms, and here I end up at some sort of situation. I see -10n plus 15 equals -10n plus 15. As soon as I saw that, I identified that these are identical. Now, this is not my final answer because I should keep going and state what my answer really is. So if I have something that is identical, that means that I am going to have infinite solutions. If I have something that is dealing with infinite solutions, we tend to represent this as the set of reals, sometimes in curly braces. For number 3, same kind of thing. I did my distribution. I started off with that. I combined like terms. I tried to isolate the variable, and when I did that, my variable got canceled out. So I was left with -43 equals 0. Now, this is not true. This statement here is not true. So I'm going to put a slash in there, which means that this is something that's inconsistent. If it's inconsistent, just like before, yes, it was identical. In this case, this is inconsistent. I'm going to keep going. If it's inconsistent system, we would say there is no solution. Since there is no solutions, we can represent that as the empty set or the empty set in that way. So usually for these, we will want to keep going, not just identify that it's identical or inconsistent. And these are the 3 types of simple types of equations that you would see. Something that leads you to a numeric answer, something that has the same things on both sides, or something that is inconsistent. Let's look at the more complex types of questions. So here, solving equations with fractions. Show all your work to solve the equation. So we have been given x minus 4 over 4 plus x over 3 equals 6. Now for these questions here, the first thing that I want to identify are my denominators. The reason I want to identify this is because I want to identify the LCD. In this case, the LCD would be 12. Once I know that this is my LCD, what I'm going to do is use that LCD to get rid of my denominators. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rewrite, and I'm going to multiply each term. This is my first term by 12. I have my second term, x over 3. I'm going to multiply that second term by that LCD equals 6. And that 6 is also going to be multiplied by that LCD. So I'm multiplying each and every term by that LCD. Now, what happens here is I am going to divide 12, this 12, by 4. What is 12 divided by 4? 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I'm going to cross this 12 out, cross the denominator out, which is usually my goal with this method, and write a 3. So my first term is officially 3 times x minus 4. That denominator has been eliminated. Plus, I'm going to do the same thing for the next one. We have a 12, and I'm going to divide that by this 3. What is 12 divided by 3? 4. So I am left with 4 times x. I am just going to multiply. 6 times 12 is 72. So I like using this LCD method because the problem starts off kind of complex, and using this method, it makes it into a nice simple equation. So I'm just gonna rush through this, get my answer, and I'm done. So my answer is x is equal to 12. Let's do another one similar to that. So for number 2, we are going to take the same process. First thing I'm going to identify, it's going to be my denominators. I am going to identify my LCD. In this case, my LCD would be multiply 5 times 2, 10. And since both of these terms have an x, my LCD would just be 10x. Now that I have that LCD, I am going to multiply every term by that LCD. So just like before, I'm going to identify again my denominators there. I am going to now start dividing. This 10x divided by 5x. So we should know that these x's are going to be canceled out, and I have 10 divided by 5 is 2. So we have 2 times 3. Here we have 10x divided by 2x, same thing, those x's are going to be canceled out. I'm really looking at 10 divided by 2, which would be 5, and 7 is still in my numerator, equals 1 times 10x, easy, 10x. Just like before, I started off with complex looking. Now it's a nice simple equation. So let's just zoom to our answer. All right, so we have our answer is x equals 41 over 10. Last one. For number 3, let's identify our denominators. So I am going to find out what is the LCD in this case. In this case, I have 2x for my first denominator and x plus 1 for my second denominator. My LCD is 2x times x plus 1. Now, in this case, I'm leaving it like this. I'm not going to distribute 2x to everything because my goal is to get rid of the denominators and not make this more complex than it has to be. So let's multiply everything by the LCD. All right, so here we have it. Let's get rid of these denominators, which is our goal. And I love these types of questions because the 2x's are going to be canceled out. I'm left with 3 times x plus 1 for my first term. The x plus 1s are going to be canceled out. I'm left with minus. Make sure you be very careful with that subtraction in there. We have minus 2x times 2x. equals, now here let's just distribute and combine like terms there, or distribute again anyway. Alright, so we would have negative 4x squared minus 4x. Let's combine, let's keep multiplying. And let us go to our solving. Okay, so for this one, my final answer is x equals negative 3/7. See you in the next quick review video.